My good friends, whether you are buying a property either to stay in, or maybe it's for investment, or whether it's a second property or third property, it doesn't really matter. I think that there is quite a lot of, and I'm going to say quite a lot of hidden cost that the banks don't tell us. And I've been doing this for a minute now, trying to see what are the hidden costs that are associated when you're buying a property. And with working with many people, I try to ask them, are you aware of this? Are you aware of that? Do you know that you're going to be paying for this? And a lot of people are just not so sure of all of these costs. So today I decided, hey, how about we prepare ourselves for these hidden costs as and when we are buying? Whether you are new, you're at the right place, or whether you are seasoned, some of these costs by the end of this video, what I'm going to try to do is to show you how you can mitigate for some of these costs, or we can try to reduce them so that they are not that big at the end of the day each time you're going to be buying. For the purposes of this video today, I'm going to use an example of R1 million property, and obviously the numbers will escalate depending on how much you're buying, and I will try to see all of that to make sure that we can all safely understand it. And I will also send you to places where you can do the investigation, so that by the time you are actually putting in an offer, you have not just fallen in love with the property, but you have actually done the maths. If we are meeting for the first time, my name is TJ, your host, and I'm a former banker and founder here at the TJ Tribe. And I do business with a focus in student accommodation, flips, which is buy and sell, and coaching, with the hope that all of us, as young, upcoming modern parents, we can be able to have passive income from real estate. Welcome to the channel. And my good friends, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off ticking off the obvious things that we all know, and hopefully some of us, we can have an eye-opening and so on along the journey. So firstly, let's talk about the transfer costs. Can we run away from the transfer cost? Actually not. There's the first person that I want to speak to you about, and her name is a conveyancer. And based on a property that you're buying, let's assume we are buying this property for R1 million, there will be a sliding scale, which means that if you're buying it $1.2 million, $1.3 million, $1.5 million, the price of the conveyancer will change. And there is calculators that you can go through to, and you can literally punch in the property that you're buying, 1.7, and then it will tell you an indicative of the conveyancer fees. Bearing in mind, my good friends, as an example, Uber is my go-to place. I like to go there. They've got an indicator, right? So it doesn't mean that if it tells you that it is 20,000, now your conveyancer gives you a quotation. You're like, hey, bond originator says it's 20,000. Whatever the fee is, I always say to myself, I think if it's 20,000 and my conveyancer is charging me 25,000, it means that there is another conveyancer who's able to do that. But remember, in most cases, you don't have to choose the conveyancer. It is the seller who does that, which means that there's an opportunity for you to say to your seller, hey, actually, I can get X amount from my conveyancer. What I basically do is that I always try, each time I'm buying a property, I try to always ask the seller if I can choose the conveyancer so that I can get a good deal. So Pateka, she is one of them from PP Malepela. You guys know her very well. She's been here many a times. She is a conveyancing office, and she can crack a good deal for you for some of these things as you are going along. So if you're buying a property for $1 million, your ballpark conveyancing fees is around about 23,000. That's what I have seen with all the properties that I've been buying. The fee number 2 that I want us to speak to soon after the conveyancing is the transfer duty. Transfer duty is this is SARS money, right? So it's SARS money. It needs to be paid to SARS, and basically SARS also have a scale around it in terms of as and when you are buying. But what I also want to mention is that as and when you are buying your property on the conveyancing side, right? So there is a fee. I think at the moment the government has increased they've increased the transfer duty from round about, I think it was 1.1, if I'm not mistaken, the previous year. And now it's sitting at around about 1.2. So there is no transfer duty. So if you're buying a product for less than 1.2, you're guaranteed that there is no transfer duty. And a lot of developers use this gimmick. And then they say to us, this is a property that's going to make you some money because you're not paying for some of these transfers. And you think, oh, yes, I'm almost buying it for free because the bank is giving me the majority of the money, if not all of it. But actually, when you start renting it out, you realize you are not making money. Avoid doing such kind of things. It is Monday. I try to teach you in under 10 minutes. That's why we call this section TML, 10 minutes learning. And that's what it is. And I'm going to try to get to 10 minutes today. So as we go along, I am looking at my slides here. And the other fee that we want to talk about here is the bond registration fee. A lot of you don't never look at that thing. What basically happens is that you get a quotation and you just sign and you're not so sure what you're signing for. In most cases, the bond registration fee is paid up front. The bond attorneys, this is from different, from transferring attorney, but the bottom line is that the bond registration fee can be anything. I have seen bond registration fee as far as 60,000. But obviously that's a scaling, right? But I'm saying that this is an example. As an example for your 1 million, bond registration fee is around about, the most I've seen is about 20 grand. The average I've seen is about 17,000. So, it's not a lot. Then thereafter, the bond registration fee, my good friends, it also generally includes the deeds office fees, right? So not the home affairs. The deeds office, they require fees for them to do their work. And I want to say that over and above that, there is what they now refer to as administration. And I've seen from many attorneys, this is from bond attorneys, bond registration fee, bond attorneys. What normally happens is that the amount fluctuates there to as far as 10 grand sometimes. And I generally want to ask my conveyancer, if you were doing this transaction, how much? Actually, I just take the one from my conveyancer in my bond originator, and I see I'm transferring the same thing, and they're fairly doing the same thing. And I try to see how much is it that they are charging me for. But I've always seen that bond attorneys generally they're like on the higher side. So be careful, look for those things and negotiate, especially if you're a repeat customer. For me, that's why I avoid going to multiple attorneys. I like to work with specific attorneys so that they know that I'm a repeat customer and they can start to give me a good deal. I hope this is making sense for you, my good friends. Fee number 5, I think it is. Fee number 5 is the initiation fee. Initiation fee. Generally, banks charge this. It's a once-off, and it's added onto your loan. And in this case, if you're buying for R1 million, you're talking about plus minus 6,000 to 10,000. That's the worst I have seen. It's an initiation fee. I don't know why they charge that, but it's an initiation fee, right? It's kind of like, hey, baptism amount. Whoop, whoop. Okay, welcome. Once off. But it's an administration fee. They want the money. Or should I say they need the money to make some money, right? They're selling money at the end of the day. My good friends, I'm not saying any of these fees are bad to be charged. I'm just saying that the deal that you need to be buying, you need to make sure that all of these costs you can carry for, or you're better planned for it. That's what we're teaching here. So the next fee, I think this is fee number 5 now. Fee number 5 is the monthly service fee. And my good friends, I have seen this monthly fee to be a little bit of a variable, but what I've seen within the last couple of years, let's just say in the last 5 years of doing my deals, I have realized that all banks actually require you to have a life cover of sort. On R1 million, we're talking at around about 100,000 on R1 million bond. And obviously that's it's a life cover that they require you to take on that property. And it's not a once-off fee, but it's obviously over the period of the 20 years. So multiplying that by 240, most bonds are sitting on 240. that's what you are basically in for. Sometimes it's a little bit more than that. I've also seen that some banks, what they've started doing is they throw in other benefits, they start offering you like a retrenchment plan. So they'll cover your bond, let's say for 6 months if you're retrenched. So obviously it starts bumping up from this 100 Rand to whatever number that it's going to be. Now, there are some other fees that are optional, my good friends. And that optionals is that sometimes there is an evaluation that needs to be done. Your property needs to be evaluated. And there's a fee for that. Can you negotiate on that one? Many times not. It's just a fee. Then there's obviously other, I'll call them stupid fees, like, it's fees that just needs to be there. They carry on the amount, but it's small little amounts, and this is fees like attorney courier fees. There's an admin cost and things like that. And more importantly is the life cover requirement. So if you're not taking a life cover with that particular bank, they normally ask you, okay, wherever you have that, let's bring it in. It needs to be linked to this bond. And my good friends, what we normally do, a lot of us, we make the mistake. We've got one life cover for 1 million Rand, but now you got 3, 4, 5 properties. All of them, they are a million. The reality is that you're not covered, right? The other 4 are not covered. The one is if you go and see Jesus. But what you now need to do is, obviously, I just take a cover for each property. It's simple that way. And as I have been growing my portfolio, I then started having tougher discussions with my insurer to say, look, this is my portfolio. How best can you cover the portfolio? And obviously that number reduced because they're covering the entire thing. So as you go, as you can see, I'm telling you some of these tips of what you need to do to make sure that you are reaping the benefit, and we're utilizing the example of the 1 million. Hey my friends, I apologize that I had to break this conversation, but I just wanted to bring you in this conversation of property management. This can become such a hassle. If you've got more than one tenant and they're in different places, this can really become a stress, because all you're now needing to do is to manage tenant issues, maintenance calls, late payments sometimes, and endless paperwork. So my good friends, I have been deploying all my properties to a company that is called Productive Realty. They are out in Boksburg, and all they do is manage properties, particularly for early investors, particularly for seasoned investors, actually for all investors. And they do this because they themselves, they are also investors in properties. They understand the game of investing and managing. The money is not made in buying properties. I always say to people, the money is made in the management of the actual property, because that's a lifelong, you need to be able to pay all the things that you need to pay for. So the company Productive Realty, my good friends, and Leroy Slava, he has a big team there, and they manage their portfolio, and they can also manage your portfolio. So if you're in and around Johannesburg, particularly in the east, they are readily available to actually just be able to jump on board and take over your properties wherever it is right now. They'll do placement for you. All of these things that we spoke about, the tenant issues, all of that will be gone, because Productive Realty will be able to manage that for you. So my good friends, all you need to do is drop us an email. You can see where it is here, and the team at Productive Realty will be able to take all of your hassles away from your tenants, and you can be able to have peace of mind, sleep, hassle-free investments whilst they are managing all your tenants for you. So what are you waiting for? Be like me and jump onto Productive Realty. Let the guys help you out. Now, as a recap, my friends, transfer costs, we spoke about that. Transfer duties, we spoke about that. Bond initiation fee, and obviously the monthly fees that are recurring. And I know that some of these fees, they are not new to you, but I was hoping that I can be able to give you some things that you can be able to negotiate. So, as I land the plane, tips to reduce some of these costs. Number one, negotiate your bond attorney fees. All right, that's number one. Maybe what you need to do is to ask the seller. I did speak about this earlier on. Ask the seller so that you can be able to utilize your own attorneys so that you can get to have a good rate on that one. Every cent that you can save when you're doing a transaction, when money is going out, I always say it's good money. Second thing is that many developers, they tell you they cover transfers and bond costs, which is a huge savings. But is the deal making sense? If it's not making sense, hey, you are not reducing. It's not a tip to reduce costs. You are reducing costs today, but for the rest of your life, you're paying a little bit more on that. Tip number 3 is that ask your bond originator if the banks are running promotions. Oof. You are not in the game, right? So you are buying a property once a year, once every 2 years. I don't know. I buy properties once almost every other third month. We're just running faster now like that. But here's the thing, right? If you're not in the game, you won't know the promotions. It's like you're not subscribed to Take a Lot. How are you going to know that there's a promotion? So ask your bond originator, is there any promotions that are running? And then bingo, they will tell you. If you're a first-time buyer, you're a first-time investor, some banks, what they do, you've never bought a property before and you're going in an investment. They basically waive off the initiation fee, the registration fee. So that's kind of like a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing. But I've had that once in a lifetime at Upside, Standard Bank, at all the other banks. But that's what it is. My final thoughts on this video is number 1, right? When we are now planning in terms of buying a property, before you start hunting, make sure that you have planned properly. You're not just planning for the deal itself, but you're planning for how much money you've got or where you are going to secure that money. Right, that's number 1. Number 2, don't fall in love with the property until you've done the maths. So have a budget. This is my budget that we're going to go out and we're going to start to look for a deal. The third final tip, my friends, as I land the plane, if this has been helpful to you, you can hit the like button at the bottom and don't forget to share with other like-minded people that might find this information valuable. It is Monday and I am back teaching you. You ask the questions and we get to answer them every Monday here at the TJ Tribe. Until we see each other again on the next video, it is I, your boy, TJ. Boom, boom.